The first time he was hospitalized, he was 9 years old, and he had a suicide attempt, and it really opened my eyes to the severity of his depression.
With her depression and anxiety, she was in and out of hospital programs, whether it be a partial program or full hospitalization for the first 2 years of her high school.
I asked the school, what do we do? How do you help me out? Really got looked at as a parent and shrugged. We don't know how to help you. We don't know what to do for your child.
Most people were shocked and stunned when she took her life. How could such a bright, engaging young woman who had such a future ahead of her and a family that loved her, how could she end her life like this? I think everybody asked the question, why? And I did the whole what if I'd only, for, day after day.
I really looked for help. I looked for help and spoke to the guidance counselors. I looked for help and I spoke to therapists, and it wasn't really taken seriously.
Sometimes it is hard and it is scary to talk, and you're afraid of judgment, or that you won't be listened to, or that you won't fully be understood.
A normal teacher response would be, oh, too bad, you'll be okay. When, at the end of the day, you're not gonna be okay. You have something that teacher doesn't have, and it's something you're fighting with on a day-to-day basis.
One of the things that schools really need to do is to work on the school culture. And by that I mean that kids come in all sorts of different size packages, temperaments, and emotional states. And we need to recognize that. I understand that they need to educate kids. You can't educate a kid who is depressed.
I think that often teachers do observe students and concerning behaviors, and I think that if we provided teachers with more learning opportunities and professional development to truly understand the signs of depression, anxiety, and suicide, that it not only would be a support to the teachers, but it would also really identify and support our kids as well.
No one looks down to anyone who says that they need to go see a doctor because they have a broken arm, but yet when our students want to see a therapist because they're having mental health challenges, all of a sudden it becomes a secretive topic.
The stakes couldn't be higher. Suicide is the second leading cause of death of young people in Massachusetts. Suicide is 5 times more prevalent than homicide. In high schools, they do a survey, and 1 in 5 of the students report suffering from a major bout of depression. It's just so alarming that the same survey found that 12% of students actually had a plan on how they would end their lives, and 6% attempt suicide. And we need to figure out how to address it. This is where the Nan Project comes in. Motivated by the tragedy of Nan's death and using my background in the field, I pulled together a group of clinicians from Elliott Community Human Services to help me figure out a way to bring the conversation about suicide and mental illness into the light. Realizing that young people are so influenced by their school setting and their peers, we created a peer-to-peer model using the school as a platform to deliver the message and get the conversation started around mental health awareness, and to create a culture of emotional well-being.
The Nan Project gets it. They understand that peer-to-peer relationships work. Why? Because kids are talking to people their own age who live their life, who walk in their shoes, and while an appreciative adult or guidance counselor means a lot, having a peer look at you in the eye and say, I get it, I can help you, I'm with you, makes all the difference in the world.
The model that we've chosen for the Nan Project is really a soup to nuts approach. We start with getting the community buy-in by bringing together the stakeholders from the community, whether that be public officials, the health department, school administrators, human service providers, first responders, and other important pillars in the community to understand the model and to give their blessing to it. Next, we go into the schools and provide the resources to the teachers and the educators around training about recognizing the risks and the signs of depression and mental illness. The step after that is to work with the students. And we do this by using a peer-to-peer model. We bring in young people who have lived experience, who have struggled with challenges around mental health, and who are in recovery. And they can tell their stories in a way that the kids can really latch on to the fact that they have struggled, but they have found a way to get past, and they deliver a message of hope. At the same time, we need to be sure that we have the resources available to address any issues that may arise. We're hoping that kids will use this as an opportunity to ask for help, to ask the hard questions.
We're not just responding to mental health challenges as they present themselves in the schools, that we're really coming back to that prevention piece and really getting ahead of the curve.
Well, with the stigmas of mental illness, I think it's really important for youth to know that they're not alone in their feelings, and that it's easier to speak to another peer than it is to take it to an adult.
I think this is going to really help support kids who, are struggling with what's going on inside their mind, and then realize that, there's help for you out there, and you can live a very happy, healthy, productive life with mental illness.
I relate a lot of my success and my recovery to finding peers that I could be there with and go through this journey of recovery with.
Humans in general need a few basic things. We need genuine respect. We need to be actively listened to and validated. People need that, like air or water. I learned that I needed that. When I was able to get that and receive that, things got so much better. And it is so important to me to do my absolute best as a human. You're gonna have your rough days, but to bring more of that into the world.
The success of the Nan Project is dependent upon the whole community getting behind it. It's about being able to raise the conversation about mental illness above a whisper. It's about having the right resources. It's about asking the hard questions. It's about making sure that young people have a place to turn when they are struggling, and that they are not followed by shame and stigma and despair, and that the trusted adults in their lives can help support them and point them in the direction of hope and help.